Hey guys, it is Esti and Justin from Not For Long Media.
If you like the video you're about to watch, be sure to like the video itself and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it.
Enjoy the video, and also don't forget to follow us on our socials at Not For Long Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right, so Morgan Jones is joining us. Morgan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good this morning. It's raining and storming outside, but class and other priorities.
See, I'm a Gator at heart, so it's always raining in Tallahassee.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, my brother goes to UF for grad school, so I guess, but still a no fan.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You've had a hell of a career at Florida State. You should be a Noel fan. So talk about why Florida State, though.
Well, when I was being recruited, I narrowed down my list to 5 schools, and you're able to take 5 official visits. So I took my visit to Florida State, and I know this sounds cliche, but it really did feel like home when I came on campus. I felt like this is somewhere where I could really thrive, not just, on the court, but outside of school. I really liked the coaching staff, and I liked how it was like a family environment. And Coach Sue's, my head coach, her thing is person first, player second, and I really like that because we're more than just athletes. And I just like the culture here.
Yeah. Culture is everything, right? And coaches are everything, even though they tell you don't pick your school based off of coaches. But then you're like, well, what am I picking my school based off of? So when I went to Florida, I loved Will Muschamp. He was the head coach there. This was in 2012, 2013. It seems like forever ago. And it was a no-brainer. And I ended up transferring out, and things didn't work. I had injuries and finished playing at Temple. But you have to pick. You have to pick based off the coach. I never understood that cliche. So what were your top 5? Who were your top 5 schools?
My top 5 was Florida State, UCLA, North Carolina State, Mississippi State, and Louisville.
I love it. So a lot of great programs there. Now, UCLA, that's across the country. You're from the Atlanta area, correct?
Well, I'm from the Atlanta area, but my mom grew up in Compton, California with her siblings, and we have family over there, so I wouldn't be completely lonely. But it was just kind of like too far for me for when it came down to it. And I also wanted to be like closer to my family on this side of the United States, because I know they're big supporters, like coming to my games and stuff like that. So I really wanted them to, be able to do that as well. And I'm really family oriented. So I think that was important to stay over here.
Talk about your family. I was doing a little research for the pod, and you talked about, honoring your family and playing for them. And what do they mean to you? What does your support system mean to you as an athlete and as a student athlete?
It means a lot. Growing up, I had a great childhood. I had one of those childhoods where you hung out with your cousins all the time, every holiday. We were tight. And ever since I've been playing sports, really, not even just basketball, they've supported me in everything, whether it was t-ball, volleyball. I don't even like volleyball, but they showed up and supported. And I don't remember them ever missing a game, honestly. I played basketball. I played travel ball. They would come to different states to support me. And ever since I've been playing college basketball, I have family that live in North Carolina. They come to the Duke game, North Carolina game, NC State game. Georgia Tech, obviously Atlanta's where I'm from, so it's always a big crowd with my family and supporters. So it really means a lot to me. And, just showing them that that I'm playing and that they're excited to come and everything like that.
Make sure you take it easy on Georgia Tech now. I'm friends with Nell Fortner, the head coach. She's a friend of mine.
I can't make no promises this year.
They're good people over there. They've been on the podcast as well. So they're good people. It's been fun getting to know the women's side of the women's game. Really, it's something that I've followed a lot. My wife played lacrosse at Florida. At Florida, we had a really tight athlete community, and we went to a lot of different each other's games, and I really enjoyed that. That was something that was a lot of fun, and ended up beating my wife. Like I said, played lacrosse there. So talk about Florida State. Talk about your time as a player there, your development, your growth, who's had the biggest impact, teammates, coaches, etc.
Well, coming in freshman year, everyone was the best player in high school, obviously. So when you come to college, you have to start all over again. So I'm not saying that was my mindset of I was going to be like how I was in in high school. But I mean, it was definitely challenging because it's like, dang, I did this in high school. Why can't I do it now? You feel me? So that's one transition that I had to learn, that you're not as good as you think you are. But I was just, I was just willing to learn. I didn't play really until like the second half of the season because I really had to grow and develop, and the coaches had to trust me. So I know that they pushed me a lot, and I spent a lot of time, on my own working on things that, I could improve on, and in order to play and stay on the court. And by the time of the second half of the season, my job wasn't even to score. It was just defend and rebound. So I really had to prove that in practice. So that's two things that, made me a better player all around, honestly, because, like I said earlier, you think you know all these things, but you really don't. So I really had to learn and grow for that. And then sophomore year, still learning, still developing. Junior year, had a little bit more freedom. And senior year now, like, I'm a veteran, and the team is leaning on me for things. So I think that growth was a lot. It was a hard process, but I mean, I worked through it. The coaches were amazing. My teammates were amazing for pushing me, everyone. And I think that they made me into the player I am today.
Talked about people leaning on you, the pressure of that. Do you feel that at all? Or do you just feel that, hey, I'm just growing into my role here?
I would say freshman and sophomore year, I would not have wanted the pressure because it's a lot. Like, honestly, like, I wasn't the main playmaker. I wasn't the person that, they relied on for scoring, but now they do. But honestly, since I've been practicing and working at it, everything I needed to work on, I feel like, it just comes naturally now. It's not something that I'm scared of doing. I feel like I'm confident now because of the amount of reps I've had and the amount of talks I had with the coaches and them putting us in those positions in practice. So it's honestly fun. And now it's like me and my other teammates who are veterans, it's like we want to be in those situations. And, we don't panic. We just do it. We practice.
I love that. You can't panic, right? It's not even a thing anymore when you get older. It's just a part of.
You panic is over with, so you don't have a choice.
Yeah. You panic when you're younger, though. I remember panicking a lot.
Yeah.
So you have players, talked about your teammates. You have players from Spain. You have players from England. You have players from locally, Alabama. Then you got players from Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. Transfers from Baylor, players from Germany, but international players. Mm-hmm. Are they different people? Are they the same, but they're from a different country? Are they bringing their culture to the team? What is that like?
Yeah, they definitely bring their culture to the team. I like how sometimes they talk in their different accents and they teach us a few things. It's pretty cool. I know one of my teammates, Sarah, she's from Finland, and she always brings us like, candy from Finland, and it's like we never had it before. So and it's really good, actually. The white chocolate is so good. But they just share their culture with us, and I think that also, like, their style of basketball is different too. Like, European style of basketball is very different. But I mean, you just get to know different people from different walks of life, how they grew up and where they grew up, and how it is different from the United States. So just sharing those things, but we all have one common goal: is play basketball and get our degrees. So I feel like I give kudos to them because it's not easy being away from home across the country. Not being able to like go home during holidays and things. You really become family with them for a lifetime.
Take us into the details of what the difference is in the games between maybe a European style game or, the American style game. What are some of the details with that?
I think the European style of the game, they're more like gritty. I'm not saying we're not gritty, but they're way more gritty from the games that I've seen.
Why so? Why do you think that's the case? Are they playing professionally at a young age, maybe?
Probably. They probably are. Honestly, the games that I've seen, like, I know when like Luka plays and for his team overseas, like, it's just different. Like, I just feel like I think it's like a different type of pride thing, probably. Just like soccer.
It's like is the AAU game changed it, right? Like, even for me. So I played AAU basketball. This is 2008, right? And that was like, it started becoming like a big deal. Instead of like, hey, I'm going to go play varsity and get scholarships from my high school, guys are getting offers. Girls are getting offers freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah, AAU is definitely a way to go because for me, I went to a small high school, but AAU really got me that exposure that I needed. We would play all summer starting in like April through like July. and we would play in front of all these college scouts. This is what they would come to. And when they come to your high school games, it's like they come to watch you, but really they saw you at AU and they want to check you out a little bit more. But they also understand that, like, you know, some players go to small high schools. Maybe their team isn't as good as their travel team. So they take that into account. Because that was how it was for me. My high school team was kind of mediocre, but my AAU team was really, really, really good. And we always, like, drew so many people to our games, whether it was, like, you know, just regular fans, other teams, and a lot of college coaches. I remember my sophomore year, our first tournament was at Blue Williams in Virginia. We had around like 100 college scouts at our game, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, that's the spotlight you want to be on. That's the stage you want to be on.
Those college scouts, did any of them come up to you after the game?
I don't think they're allowed to, but I did get some calls after that they were interested, and I got some letters in the mail. So I guess that's their way of talking to me.
Yeah, no doubt. Things are different. Now, when it comes to women's basketball, right, there were some people that called me, like Nick Saban gave me a call and said, we're going to offer you a scholarship, Colin. Let's Skype. And I was like, okay. Again, this is 2000, let's say 2010, 2011. Was there someone that you got a phone call from and you're like, wow, this is a titan of, you know, the women's basketball, men's basketball community?
Yeah, I think my first, well, Tennessee was really my dream school growing up. And when I got that letter from them, I was like, wow, like, this elite program is interested in me. And I was like, I haven't even reached my peak yet. But that was crazy because Candace Parker, she's one of my favorite players. She went to Tennessee, and they just have a great legacy there with Pat Summitt and everything. So I really grew up watching them, and I really I was just in shock because, like I said, I grew up loving Tennessee. I was a huge Tennessee fan. And also all these other schools that were top programs, when I found out like they wanted to recruit me and things like that, it just felt surreal. It was Mississippi State. North Carolina was also a school that I liked because of Michael Jordan and I like the colors. But,
everyone loves the colors. And when they offered me, I was like, they drew like in Carolina blue. I'll never forget the ink and the handwritten letters was Carolina blue. I'm like, this is just incredible. Like these home jerseys are awesome.
They really know how to recruit people.
They do. It's yeah. When you got the colors and you have the history and Michael Jordan, you should be able. Hopefully you can recruit. There's some players you mentioned there. MJ, Candace Parker. Are there people? There's people that I was a fan of growing up, but I couldn't be like them as a player. Then there's people that I'm fans of, like Jason Witten, who I'm probably a little bit more closer to, not a Hall of Famer by any means, but when it comes to trying to model my game after and taking little things and then putting that into my game, are you watching tape or are there players that you model your game after at the pro or college level that have come before you?
Definitely, I would say Kobe. Kobe was my favorite player growing up. And he's really the only player that like I actually like could watch because Michael Jordan, obviously I was too little to really like see him play live. But Kobe, I remember Kobe playing, and I just really liked because he's a guard and I'm a guard, and I know like reading his book, it really like changed my mindset into Mamba mentality. I guess just being a hard worker, staying grounded, you know, doing more than other people around you, and I really liked how successful it made him. Some people say like, oh, he's crazy for thinking that, but I mean, the guy was successful, and he's one of the toughest players I've ever seen. So I think that, you know, he's a great role model, like as far as like being on the court and things like that. He's a great leader, and things that he's done outside of basketball is, you know, really motivating because he's obviously more than just a basketball player. He uses his name, his image to change lives, even support women's basketball. He goes to a lot of WNBA games, so he's really a supporter in other ways, not just, you know, into himself. But yeah, like growing up, Kobe was my biggest not fan, but he was like my favorite player.
I still can't believe he's gone.
I can't either. And it happened, we were playing Miami actually, and we were playing them at home, and it happened during the game actually, and we didn't know until halftime. So we go into the locker room after the second quarter, and then one of my teammates checks her phone. She's like, "Wow, that's crazy." And then she asked the the players that were injured, obviously they weren't playing, so they had their phones in them. And they said, yeah, but don't say anything. And we're all like, okay, like now you have to say something because you can't just have that reaction and then y'all say don't say anything. So we was like, just tell us. And then she said, I can't. I'm like, yo, just tell us what's going on. And then she just said Kobe died. And we were all like, what? And I was like, you're not serious, are you? Like, Kobe Bryant? And then she said, yes. So it's just like, I mean, the coaches knew, but they were saying like, we have to finish the game. So then we go out, finish the game, but it's just like everyone in the crowd knew what happened, but we didn't. That was just the crazy part. Like everyone at a certain point, everyone checked their phones and saw that Kobe died. And it's like, we're playing a game and we don't even know what's going on for real.
It felt fake.
Yeah, it did. And it didn't really hit me until like I was in such a bad mood like the rest of the week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I remember like going in Twitter and just trying to find it's fake. Like
Yeah.
some people were like, it's not confirmed. I was with the Tampa Bay Vipers at the time in the XFL, and we're in a team meeting.
Mm-hmm.
No one's allowed to have their phones, right? But it's like ruffling in the back, and the coach is like, what's going on? Like who's on their phone back there or whatever. And one of the players are like, Coach, I'm really sorry, but Kobe Bryant just died.
Wow.
We're like, what? It was crazy. It was like the last thing you could ever expect. Obviously a tragedy. And which another crazy thing, my tight end coach in Tampa, Pete Mangirian, his son played baseball for the coach that was on the flight with Kobe.
Wow.
So it like directly affected our our team as well. And in a crazy 6 degrees of separation way, it was just tragedy for everybody, obviously. And such a sad thing. So I had Colin Gillespie on. First off, RIP Kobe. You're a legend. We appreciate all you've done for this. I mean, the Mamba mentality stuff is huge, right? Like everybody is on it now. His legacy will only grow, right? Of who he is. He's an unbelievable leader, father, man, supporter of so many.
I think the worst part was like they like brother news that it was his daughter too.
Oh,
and then, like other players, like it just made it so much worse. Like, and Gigi was gonna be a star. Like, she was about to be a star.
Yeah, it's a shame. So we'll transition. We'll try to. So I had Colin Gillespie on. He's a point guard for Villanova. Heck of a player, and he's a friend of mine. We grew up together. Mm-hmm. I asked him this question: who are some players around college basketball, the women's game, obviously, that you respect?
That are in college right now?
Yep.
Let me see.
You can start with the ACC. That's always good. Who are some of the better players in the ACC that you got to guard or you got to go against? Now we're talking to everybody, an all-ACC performer, and then all-ACC defensive player.
I think, well, she graduated in what she said. She's in WNBA now. Her name is Dana Evans. She plays for the Chicago Sky. She went to Louisville. I think that she, like when we first played against them, my assignment was to defend her, and she was one of the best players. Last year, she was ACC Player of the Year. So I really that game. Those games really challenged me because she's the best player, obviously, and we want to win. But she's just really skilled. She's quick. She's good at everything she does. She always gets hyped up, and I just really wanted to shut her down. And I knew that was gonna be one of my biggest assignments all season last year, this past year, and my sophomore year. We had played them in the ACC semifinals in 2019, because 2020 we didn't have a tournament, but in 2019, and we ended up winning the game. And I remember we're literally high-fiving them at the end of the game after we won, and she literally tells me good defense. And I'm just like, wow, you just lost, you're done, and you're the player of the year or player in the running, you were next year, but you're telling me I play good defense on you?
That's that composure of being an older player that we talked about, right?
Yeah. And it's I'm just a sophomore, I'm just a kid.
Now you're going to be saying that. You're going to be saying that to some kid this year. Hopefully after you guys win the national title.
Yeah. For sure. But honestly, after she told me that sophomore year, that motivated me to I was like, well, if I can guard this girl, I can guard anybody. So the next year, I amp it up. I just take that and just run with it. Just make myself better. And then all of a sudden I get the ACC defensive team, all defensive team. So I think that, you know, things like that, older players just encouraging me and just, you know, just saying things like that, it really goes a long way.
You mentioned the tournament. We all know about the famous weight rack picture of the four weights. And, you know, again, I had Nell Fortner on the podcast, the head coach of Georgia Tech women's basketball. And Nell had an unreal tweet about it that went viral and just about, hey, this has been the norm. And now it's just starting to get exposed and expected, you know, not expected, but this is what's been the norm. And it's just being exposed now. What are some interactions with some things over the years that you've come across? And again, this isn't like a whistleblowing situation here, but like some things as a women's college athlete that I was spoiled at University of Florida. I was spoiled at Temple playing football, you know, in college. We all know, like we get everything that we needed more. But what are some of the things that you feel, you know, that as a woman in the NCAA that you guys have been shorted of?
I feel like not just at Florida State, because I think we have a really good fan base, pretty decent fan base, but around other colleges, from what I hear from my friends and stuff, like when they promote the games, they really like go out of their way to like really promote the men's games. Like they make it exciting, seem fun, and you know they really know how to showcase those guys. But women, it's not as much effort put into it. So I really think that one thing that could change is if they like, you know, promoted the women more like they do the men. They really make an effort to try to make it like exciting and, you know, try to get people to come to the games. I think that you can see a huge like difference, but it all has to do with like, you know, marketing. Marketing is everything. So if you market a team or like their brand or things like that, a lot of people will get drawn to it, but you just have to know how to do it, and you have to actually want to do it. You can't just, you know, say, oh, it's just a women's game, let's just, you know, put out a tweet or something. But no, like we need like the same advertising that the men get, the women need to have as well. So I think that that's something that I've seen in college. There's been more advertising for men's games and football games, really. But at Florida State, really every women's sport is like thriving. Volleyball, soccer, softball, basketball, tennis, golf, everything. The women at this school, like they're very elite. So I think that that they only publicize you when you're winning, but like, you know, if you lose, they're like, oh, but like it's like we have to do extra just to get a little bit more of attention. Like you have to win in order for people to come. But if it was the men's team and they were losing, people would still go.
Yeah, things are changing, that's for sure. And that's a credit to you guys. That's a credit to, you know, people calling out the NCAA. We're going to transition now to name, image, and likeness. Some things going on with that. What's that been like? Like, I guess take us back to square one. Like when this comes out, hey, listen, you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. Everyone's like, let's go. We're all cashing in. How did that process go for you?
I mean, early on, like I had a lot of good people in my corner telling me like what a good deal is and what's not a good deal. I have some lawyer friends that really looked out for me. And some marketing people that looked out for me, not working for me, but, you know, just giving me advice and stuff like that. There's really a lot of vultures out there that really wanted to capitalize off of this opportunity. I know a lot of companies came out saying, sign with us and we'll get you deals, but it's just like, this whole thing is still fairly new. Everybody doesn't know everything yet. And the laws are different based on the state. And also, they have you sign contracts, and us being college kids, we don't know what to look for in a contract. Like we don't have lawyers. Like even professionals, they don't look through their contract. They have lawyers look through their contracts. So you expect us to look through it, but I think that was crazy. But luckily, I had some friends that looked over it, and they're saying, "Whoa, they're taking a huge percentage of what you get, and you can't like sign with anybody else." So it's just like I feel like I said, there's a lot of vultures trying to capitalize off of us because it's like we're grown and they want to act like we're adults out in the real world, but we're not yet. And I feel like that was something that we could have been educated on. We had a lot of NIL seminars at our school, but nothing about like contracts and what to look for when we're reading them if nobody else can read them. So I think that a lot of student athletes, they went ahead and just signed it just because they thought the money looked good, but you know, they might get into a pickle one day because you can't, if they sign with somebody else, they're not allowed to do that, and they have to give a certain percentage. So it's like they didn't look at it before, so now it can like come back around later and like be detrimental, and they could even be ineligible to play. But you never know. That's why I'm glad like I had people in my corner, but I know a lot of people didn't, and I think that there could have been a little bit more education on that aspect of NIL. But I mean, as for me, I've done a few like small stuff. I did something with Body Armor, so they gave me some drinks. I do a lot of stuff locally. I'm not trying to do anything too crazy because like it's a lot of work and a lot of people ask a lot of us. But I just try to do something simple. I'm doing something with Goalie gummies, the apple cider vinegar gummies. So I have a partnership with them, so I'm going to be doing that soon. But I'm not really trying to do nothing crazy because I'm not trying to get in trouble. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay on the safe side.
You know it's going to happen, right? Someone's going to get in trouble. Like March Madness is going to roll around, and some
That's
big
what I'm saying.
someone's going to
Madness around the tournament time. Like I don't really think people thought a lot of things through, but only time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell, and I'm sure will be a highlighted thing. It's interesting how it's going, and again, it's brand new, so it will get better, right? Like just like how things are better now than when I was in school, and when I was in school, things
you would
were
have made a lot of money.
well, football, right? Florida Gator football, right? You're good. It would have.
You would have been on NCAA football and everything.
I was in that game actually.
Wow.
That's how old I am. Yes, I'm the oldest 27-year-old you'll ever meet. I was in that game, yeah, and I was an absolute beast, even though I couldn't walk and I had multiple broken feet. In real life,
superstar.
Sorry,
they made you a superstar.
I was a superstar in that game. I was not a superstar in real life, sadly. The amount of texts I got that I won the John Mackey Award, which is the #1 tight end in the country in college football.
Wow.
It was fantastic, but it was for a video game. It was not for real life, sadly, but that's okay. I have no regret. I have zero regret. As we wrap things up, what's the future looking like for you? I know the WNBA is something that you would like to possibly get into.
Honestly, the more I've been thinking about it, there's a lot of like routes that my life could go after graduating. But for me, I'm just trusting God and just doing things little by little and seeing like what His plan is. I'm just doing the best that I can now, and I know that like my future is basically in His hands. But I'm just going to keep trusting Him to guide me, guide my steps, and that I end up right where I'm supposed to be. So I'm not really worried at all. I know wherever I end up is exactly where He wants me.
Good for you. That's awesome. Such a level head, and we'll be following you here at Not For Long Media and supporting you. I'll probably Nell's going to be upset that I had you on.
Man, she'll be all right. I think she has respect for me.
She definitely has respect for you. I know she does for a fact. She won't be upset. She'll be ecstatic that I had you on, and I'll be supporting and watching both of you guys now this year. Let's finish this up, though. I see you're a Steelers fan on Twitter.
Oh,
Talk about this. Let's go back, though. Why you're a Steelers fan? Where did that start? You're a football fan, I see.
All right. So my grandma on my mom's side is from Pittsburgh. So she was a Steelers fan. So the whole household grew up Steelers fans. So that's my aunties and my uncles. My mom has 7 siblings. They're all Steelers fans, except for one. She's a Falcons fan, but we're not going to get into that.
We're going to get into that, but continue.
And another one is a Cowboys fan, but they also live in Charlotte. So their sons like the Panthers. So
go Panthers.
But I grew up a Steelers fan because my mom was a big Steelers fan and my auntie. So, I mean, they would always go crazy for Steelers games. So I kind of just like grew into it, and huge Big Ben fan. And I was a huge Troy Polamalu fan. I have his jersey. He was like my favorite. But
do you rep it around campus on game day? You wear the Troy jersey?
Well, they're losing right now, so
you still got to rep the jersey though.
Yeah, I do. But my teammates are Saints and Green Bay fans, and we lost to Green Bay, so it's fine.
So no Falcons.
No, I'm telling you, I'm not a Falcons fan, and when they were in the Super Bowl, like if they would have won, we wouldn't have had score the next day. They're up 21. They're up by 21 points.
Were you cheering for them then?
No, I just didn't want to go to school the next day. So I was like, yes, win. It'll be great for the city. And then they ended up losing. I'm just like, this is why, like.
So I'll never forget it. I was flying from Philadelphia to Atlanta to train in Norcross. Shout out to Chip Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for the pro day combine, not combine, but for my pro day situation. And I was flying during the middle of the game. I remember watching the game in the airport and then taking off like the first quarter and then landing. And then all of a sudden, what is happening? I'm like getting in an Uber and the Uber driver's freaking out.
It was embarrassing. And then all the Falcons fans that came to school the next day, they were so sad. I'm just like, what did y'all expect, honestly? Because this has been happening every year. And the one chance they get, it's just like the Hawks when they had a winning season that year and they lose in the first round of the playoffs.
All right, we'll finish with this. Here's a serious question. Big Ben, right? You said he may have to retire on your Twitter. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer, Super Bowls, absolute legend, right? You can't take anything away from him. But what's next? What's next?
He's a millionaire. He'll be fine. Like I do not be feeling bad because these guys they're set for life. This man has rings.
Some are. Yeah. Not everyone has a podcast. Not everyone's their second. Not everyone has a second job.
I think he should be straight. But like Brett Favre, he was in the league for a long time. His body started breaking down, started getting slower. I feel like Ben is getting slower. I mean, he threw a touchdown, really nice touchdown. But it's just like, yeah, we might need something else because like we need to like win games. We need to like.
What do you think about Najee?
I mean, he's good. I feel like he has potential. I feel like we just need some new guys now.
And we'll finish with this. I've said that like 4 times now. Are you a Florida State football fan?
It's hard, but yes, I be cheering for them.
Good, you got to. Team
It's
spirit.
still like they haven't had a winning season since I've been here, but it's been a lot of changes that they have to adapt to. A lot of like pressure from the boosters. So I feel like I understand it's hard. You can't really turn the program around in a season. But I mean, it just takes time, and that's what they're going through, a transitional period, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And rebuilding seasons happen all the time. So
yeah, they do. No, they're obviously one of the most historically great programs. Florida State, an unbelievable, so much respect for the university. Obviously, when I was at Florida, I was able to follow it closely, and I never been the big rivalry guy. Like, I don't know, it's never been my thing. Like, I was not raised to be an Eagles fan, even though everyone's a diehard Eagles fan. Mm-hmm. As we're getting ready to play the Eagles this weekend in Carolina.
So I don't know, but were you at Florida with Aaron Hernandez?
No, I was not. I was there 12 and 13. And it's funny. I remember, I mean, again, obviously this 12 and 13, he was with the Patriots and having a great career. And it was a major selling point. Like this guy won the Mackey Award, which is the top tight end in football. And
yeah,
I remember my dad being like, you have an opportunity to do this here. Someone's done it at this school. Then obviously things unraveled. Have you seen that documentary on the whole situation?
Yes, it was crazy. I didn't know all that. I mean, obviously, like I was in like middle school, 9th grade maybe, but it was crazy.
Crazy. I mean, where do you even start on it?
Realistic.
No, it's a shame. Again, the documentary probably doesn't tell the whole story. We all know that, but
yeah,
it's just a shame on all counts. And you hate to see someone die and all these different things. And Aaron has a child, and it's just, it's sad on all accounts, but yeah, he was, obviously a tremendous football player. And
also
it's a shame.
Mental health is important.
Mental health. Yeah. Let's talk about that. I saw too, sports psychology, something that you're interested in possibly when you're done.
Yeah. I feel like being around a lot of athletes that, go through things mentally, sometimes like they reach out to me, but I don't always know what to say exactly. So I feel like, just getting a job in that field, I'll know exactly what to say to help them. I'm not saying I will fix everything, but I'll be more knowledgeable in it so that I can help people more because like, you hate to see it. And, sometimes you wish that there's more you could do, but I think that getting more knowledge and being educated on things and a little bit of knowing how they work, and me as a former athlete, I'll be able to relate a lot. So I think that would be a great field for me, but we'll see.
Well, Morgan, it's been awesome today. I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
I had fun.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. I'm going to check up when the season starts really getting going. Would love to have you back on again. And we appreciate you coming on Not For Long Media.
Yep. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Morgan.
All right.